So we're going to start on page 2 this morning, and I've already cut my decorative paper at 8 3/8 by 7 3/8. So that's 8 3/8 by 7 3/8. I've went ahead and I did my corners with my ink, distressed my corners. And then I've cut I'm going to make a large pocket page for this one. I've noticed that when I started making albums and I made both of the sides really heavy in layers, that it was difficult to lay the pages flat. So every other page is going to have a lot of layers. And then there's going to be like one large pocket page. So this one, you're going to take your paper, whatever color you're going to use. I am kind of doing a mixture of craft and white. And so this one is going to be 8 1/2. You're going to score at 1/2 inch, 8 inches. I'm sorry. Let me start this over. It's going to be 8 1/2 by 4 inches. Okay. 8 1/2 by 4 inches. And you're going to score at 1/2 inch and at the 8, and then you're going to turn it to its side and score it at a 1/2 inch. Now, you know how I like my decorative borders, so I'm going to go ahead and get this out, and I'm going to go ahead and punch my borders. Okay. And I'm just lining these up. As long as they line up perfectly, you should have no problems. I'm just going to keep on going until I get to the end. And I'm not going to worry about the very ends. Hold on, let me clean that off. I should have had my Score Pal mat on here. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to snip my miter my edges. Okay. I'm going to go ahead and fold over and then burnish my edges, or my corners, shall I say. And then I'm going to go ahead and slide this in here. Make sure it's right side up. And then I'm going to go ahead and get out my glue. Or you can use your score tape, whatever you want to do. I just love my art glitter glue for easy, quick things like this, okay? Again, I'm going to make sure it's lined up in there right. And burnish it in there, or mash it down, however you want to say it. And this is where the dry wipies come in handy. And then now I have my pocket page. And since I know that this is at 3 1/2, I'm going to cut my paper at 3 1/4, my decorative paper, 3 1/4 by, I'm thinking 7 3/8. So let me try that first. See what I've got left over in my scraps. I don't want to use that one. That's too short. Ooh, this is perfect. Okay, so this one is 7 3/8. I'm actually going to drop this down to, because let me see here. No, that's right. Okay, so we know 7 3/8, and we said by 3 1/4. So I'm going to cut this down to 3 1/4. And I'm going to distress my edges. And then I want to make sure that this is going to line up right before I put it down. And it looks good. Looks real good. So now I can go ahead and place it down. Making sure to get all those edges. Okay. Move it up just a hair. And then burnish it in. Oh, it's looking so cute. Now you could use a border strip right here if you wanted to. That actually looks real pretty. So again, I would do it that same measurement. It was 7 3/8, I believe. And I'm going to cut off. Well, maybe that's not straight. Let me check that out real quick. Hold on. If I do recall. Yeah, that's not going to work. I need to use a different one. I'll go ahead and trash that. Let's see what I've got here. Well, I might save that till later. Anyway, let me go ahead and attach it to my page. I'm just going to make sure that it's, whoops, right side up. Okay. Yep, that's right. And I'm going to go ahead and get my score tape and go around my edges first and then glue it down. And then you'll be done with page 1. I mean, page 2, excuse me. And then I'll be back with page 3. Okay, so we're going to start on page 3, and of course here is our base page, right? But I'm going to put that to the side for a second because your first mat that's going to go on top of your base page is going to be 8 3/8 by 7 3/8, okay? And we kind of talked about that earlier. So this is what I've been thinking. I have a bunch of old file folders, and I decided I wanted to start getting rid of all of my excess stuff. So this is going to be kind of like a mishmash of stuff in here, and I think it'll end up being really cute. At least I'm hoping so. Anyway, so with my file folder, I went ahead and cut it down to, let me do it this way. It might be a little bit better. 7 7/8 by 5 1/8, okay? And that's just kind of the way it worked out. I went ahead and re-rounded the corners and inked all my edges inside and out. So then I went ahead and did a score line at a 1/2 inch, okay? So I was thinking that it would kind of go over like this, okay? And then inside, we're going to have a mini waterfall, and it's going to be 3 of these, okay? And on each of the waterfalls, well, actually, let me give you the measurements for that. But before we do that, I went in a 1/2 inch. No, I'm sorry, 5/8. Yep, 5/8 an inch. And I kind of just guesstimated my center. And this is so that I know where to start my waterfall, okay? So I know that I need to basically go just right on top of that line and start my waterfall, okay? Then, let me move this out of the way. My waterfall pages are going to be 6 3/4 scored at a 1/2 inch by 4 1/4, okay? So 6 3/4 by 4 1/4 scored at a 1/2 inch, and you'll need 3 of those. Now, I thought it'd be really neat to do some little pockets, okay? And those pockets are going to hold your recipe cards, okay? Now, normally for my pockets, I would do a 1/2 inch on the side, but because we're only putting one little recipe card in there, you know, 1 or 2, you don't really need to do a whole lot of, you know, excess room at the bottom, okay? Because we're not trying to make these really thick pages, okay? So, and then you'll just mat the other side. So you could do photos on the other side. This is going to be 7 1/4 by 1 1/2 inches, and then I went ahead and used my edge punch. Then I scored at a 1/2 inch and at 6 5/8, okay? And then I'll just put my little glue right down here, okay? I'm just going to do a glue strip right down there, or you could do your score tape. I'd use the 1/8 inch if you're going to use your score tape, okay? If you're going to mat the inside of this card, okay, you're going to do your mat at 6 1/8 by 4 1/8. 6 1/8 by 4 1/8. And I haven't really decided whether or not I want to mat the inside of these. I'm not really, like I said, I'm not wanting to make this too thick, okay? So if I did this, that would end up adding on more thickness to my page. And besides, you're not even really going to be able to see this. It's just up to you. You know what I'm saying? So once you put your card in there, it's going to look like this, okay? So you're not even really going to see an edge. So it's totally up to you what you want to do. Maybe I'll do one. I don't know. It's got to be a really thin paper if I am going to do one. You know what? I might do that with some plain manila cardstock. So I'll be back in a minute. I'm going to go ahead and cut those, and I'll be back. I want to show you something real quick. So I decided to do a stripe basically down the center with some decorative paper. And this decorative paper is about 1 1/2 inches. And of course I went on my 5/8 of an inch inside from the left. Okay. Then I'm going to turn it this way in order to place down my first mat. Let me get my score tape on here. Let me burnish that in there real quick. I know I'm making a hot mess up in here, but I want to show you this really fast because I think this will be the easiest for y'all to get it even, okay? So I grab my ruler, okay? And on my ruler, I'm going to go in, move that out of the way. Oops, and I almost grabbed the wrong one. Dagnabbit. Okay, I'll just use glue on this one. Ugh. Okay. Okay, so I'm going to line this up. Okay, then I'm going to go in 1.5 inches, and that's where I know is my center. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and place that down. Okay, I'm going to burnish that in really well. And now I can place my second one. And I really like using a little bit of glue and tape just to make sure, because here in Texas it's very humid, so we have to watch this. And I know you're like, where are your magnets? Okay, on this one, I am not putting a magnet down just yet because, hold on, it's not wanting to fold over. Oh no, it did, okay. Wow, got freaked out there for a second. Okay. And then I'm going to use some of my washi tape here, okay? Then I'm going to do my last one, okay? And this is what I was saying. See, so when I put my card in here, you cannot even see that paper. That's why it drives me crazy when I have to mat. And I feel like it's a waste because you're not actually going to see it. I make a little bit of room down here. Open it up just a little bit, because it really does hold my card in there. I don't know why it's acting crazy. Okay. That should be pretty good. Still a little bit sticky, but it's like whatever. Okay. So I'm just going to put on my last mat. Then I'm going to go ahead, before I do that, because I can go ahead and show you this now. No, I will wait. I apologize. Hold on. Okay, didn't want you to think I didn't finish this. Actually, I've decided that I'm going to wait until I have some scrap pieces of paper that kind of measure this size, and then I went ahead and did my mat on the back. What I'm going to do now is do my flap that goes over here, and this is where my magnet comes in play. So I'm going to get out one of my magnets, and I'm out of my basic gray one, so I'm having to use just a regular old magnet right now. I can get this thing not to attach here. Okay, so right here around the bottom of this, okay, oops, I'm going to go ahead and glue my magnet on there, okay. Then I'm also going to take my 3M tape, which is one of my favorite little tapes, to make sure that it stays on there. I'm going to add a little more glue, okay. My fingers are extra sticky today. Lots of glue on my fingers. Okay, I'm going to burnish that in, get out any wrinkles. What I like about 3M tape is it's very thin and it doesn't really get in the way of my stuff. So for my decorative paper or my matte paper, it's going to be 6 7/8 by 5 inches. 6 7/8 by 5 inches. I went ahead and inked this one already. This one's going to go on my back piece. And I'm just going to line it up there. And I'm going to put score tape down at the bottom where my magnet is going to be. And then the rest I will glue. Okay. And I do that just to make sure, for extra security. If you've watched my tutorials, you know what I mean. And again, I'm going to apply lots of glue on there just to make sure. Going to line it up. Make sure I've got it in the center where I want it. and lay it down. I'm going to seal my edges, get any of that excess glue off, and then I'm going to go ahead and burnish it in. Trying not to burnish too close to the magnet, okay? Then I'm going to do the same thing on the front because that magnet's still gonna, you can still feel it through there. So I'm going to go ahead and line the bottom of this too, same way. Okay. And burnish that in real good. Apply my glue. And again, I just like to work upside down. I know that's kind of crazy, but I do feel like I can see it better. I don't know why. Seems almost ridiculous to even say that, right? Okay. And then do the same thing. Let me run this over here. Okay, then I'm going to decide where I want it on here. And I'm thinking this is pretty good. Right about there. I'm going to go ahead, flip it over, and add my glue at the bottom. And I'm going to use a pretty good amount because I want it to stay pretty good. And again, I'm just going to make sure I'm lining that up right. And then, oops, see, I didn't do that. Now I got to reapply my glue. Maybe I should do it this way, then I can see a little bit better. Here we go. Then I can flip it over and burnish that in. Now I know where I'm going to press this down really well because it's going to come up a little bit, okay? I'm going to hold it down and I'm going to try to pry the other magnet away from the other magnets. Ugh! There. And let it flip right into place. I'm going to hold this down and glue at the same time. Get out my washi tape. Not my washi tape. My 3M tape. Don't get that confused. And again, kind of get rid of some of those wrinkles, flatten it out a little bit. Okay. Now it should be lined up pretty well. Again, I'm going to lift that up real fast. That looks good. Okay, now here's where I get my score tape again. I'm going to use a, I think this one's 3/4 of an inch. I'm just burnishing it in. Make sure to get rid of any debris that's on your page possibly. Don't want that all up in your stuff. Let me snip off this little excess that I've got going on. Burnish it in again. And then I'm just going to add it to my base page. And then, of course, I'm going to add glue on in the middle of here and etc. so that I have an ability to move it around. And then I'll be back. Okay, so I ended up having a scrap left over to go ahead and mat this. And for my little washi that I'm going to do right here on those 3 little pages, it is going to be a hair under a 1/2 inch, okay? So I took like off another 1/16 of an inch, okay, by 4 1/8, okay? And then you're just going to go ahead and attach those on. And again, I do have my other page, so hold on so y'all can see that. So now I have another large pocket page. And then we will be back with page 5. Okay, one more thing. You're going to kill me. Okay, so I realized that this looks like a huge empty space, and I just didn't like that. So I took a piece of craft cardstock. I cut it at 6 1/8 by 7 1/4, and then I went ahead and I took the scalloped edge punch that Tammy Vaughn let me borrow, and scalloped it on both sides. And then for my paper that's going to go right in here, this is going to be 5 5/8 by 7 1/8, okay? And I'm going to go ahead and glue that down and then mat it down here. And I think then I will be happy with that because it was looking a little naked there for me. So basically, let me see how that comes out. I kind of like that. I don't know. Yeah. Go just a hair. There you go. So then it's going to look something like this. I think I like that a lot better than being naked. So I will go ahead and finish matting that and I'll be back. Okay, so now that we finished page 3, we're going to go on to page 4. And again, I said this is going to be a pocket page. And I went ahead and decided to do another pocket page going vertical, okay, instead of horizontal. And the reason why I chose to do that was because the way I cut my paper, it just kind of ended up working out really well that way. So my paper is, again, 8 3/8 by 7 3/8. And then for my pocket, my paper is 4 inches by, hold on, 8 and, it looks like 8 3/8. I scored it at a 1/2 inch on each side, except for this one. And again, I did my doily punch. I'm going to go ahead and distress those edges real quick before I forget. Whoops, I'm doing the wrong side. Whoops, whoops, whoops. That's okay. Don't matter. I'm going to go ahead and fold on my score lines and burnish it in just to get it really nice and tight. Okay. And then let's see here. So if this is now 3 3/8, I need this to be about maybe a little bit, a hair under 3 1/4, so like a 1/16 of an inch. What did I say again? I'm delirious. 3 1/4. Okay. So I just need to line this up here. This should be about right. Hopefully I did that right. If not, we're about to find out. Okay, yep. You know what? I'm going to do, like I said, another little hanger off there. And not even an eighth of an inch. Excuse me, I can't talk. Okay, I'm going to say that little thing. I'm going to go ahead and just rest my edge again because I had to cut a little bit more off. And then, let me do this too before I forget. Actually, you probably could take another hair off right there, just to be on the safe side. And I'm going to get out my glue. And just line it up where you want it. Kind of move it in just a hair up there. You know what? I'm not liking that. Hold on. I did a little too far down. Let me do it sideways. It might be a little bit easier for me to do this. Okay. There you go. That's a little better. Okay, and burnish it in. Clean up any of my glue. And what I love about this is if I missed any glue anywhere, this I can just easily get it in the little nooks and crannies with this little point. That's what I love about it. Okay. Now I'm going to go ahead and I still need a little hair right there. I can see it. Okay. Now I want to have it on this end this time. So, uh-oh, did I scratch my paper? I sure did. How the heck did I do that? Oh well. I don't know. I guess that's automatically in there. How weird is that? Okay, so again, I'm going to go ahead and line this up here as evenly as possible. Burnish it in. I'm going to do this side. I can see that it looks like I need to take another hair off here. Either that or I folded this on the wrong side, which is more likely what I did because it's such a tiny little hair. but we will work with it. Oops. I'm making a hot mess, guys. Oh my gosh. And again, burnishing those edges. Here we go. So now I can just attach it to my page, and I'm just going to do the same thing where I put my score tape here and then glue the rest. And I will be right back.